Good evening. Hello and welcome to this edition of Startup Central. I'm Naintara Rai. This is the only show of its kind in Indian television that's dedicated to tech, innovation, disruption, entrepreneurship. Basically, if it falls under the gambit of the new economy, it's here on your favorite channel, ET Now at sharp 6 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, like all the stakeholders of this community that we get on this show, Team Startup Central thrives on constructive criticism. Keep writing into us. Tell us how to take this show to the next level, what you want to see in it, what we should remove from the show, do things differently. Our email address right on top, suc@etnow.tv. We love getting your emails. Keep writing in. As you all know, the mood is obviously very, very somber. There's so much gloom and doom. Look at the way the cases are exploding every day. And even the government is admitting that we're nowhere close to the peak. Resources are drying out. And what we've seen over the last couple of days is actually the civilians rise to the occasion to try and help out other civilians. We're also talking about startups, founders, employees, volunteers, all coming together, innovating, whether it is to set up an organization that is going to be importing concentrated oxygen from Hong Kong, Singapore, and all of that, or someone who's building a product. So people like you and me can get real-time information on where ICU beds are available, where to get plasma and match it with the patient, all of that. And keeping that in mind, we decided to get two such guests today who we at ET Now and Startup Central are calling the New Age COVID Warriors. We're going to introduce you to two of them today. One is Rahul Agarwal of Mission Oxygen. The second is Suhas, who has built this product, India COVID Resources In. If you already not come across it, go check it out. You get real-time information on the various resources you need to fight coronavirus, whether it's plasma, ICU beds, oxygen, all of that. Gentlemen, welcome to Startup Central. First up, thank you so much for all that you're doing. Thank you to your teams that are doing all of this. Rahul, I'm going to come to you first. We all know that there is a massive shortage of oxygen. Every day we're seeing the Prime Minister hold meetings with the Chief of Defense on airlifting oxygen. You're hearing about the oxygen trains, but we're still not able to meet the demand. And that's where people like you are stepping in, importing the concentrated oxygen concentrators. Tell us more about this.
So, Naintara, this is an initiative. We're a group of entrepreneurs in Delhi, Gurgaon. We're about 250 of us. So we started this a few days back on Friday, to be precise, last week. This is something that, we just started. It's something that we need to do. Initially, we just wanted we started speaking to doctors, hospitals, institutions. We realized that the problem was much, much, much bigger. We didn't need hundreds, we didn't need thousands, we needed tens of thousands. And over the last 5 days, we've been able to, understand the nuances of, getting these into the country, buying them, procuring them from factories in China. Things have moved very quickly. We've been able to get, as of right now, we've been able to purchase 3,900 concentrators from various factories in China. As of right now, we have our first shipment getting loaded on DHL freight that is landing in Delhi at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We've had the support from the entire world. I'll be very honest with you. There's not a person who said no to us. We've been asking for help all around, and we've been getting help from all around. Things are happening not only in minutes, but in seconds. Everything's being done on a yesterday basis. There is no time to waste. Time is of essence. And the underlying mission, oxygen, what we're calling it, is that, we need to bring in these oxygen concentrators as soon as possible, because every day, the numbers that we bring in are the number of lives you're going to save.
Absolutely. So, As, if I can come to you now, you built this product, India COVID Resources.in. How did it come about? Is yours also volunteer driven? And how real time is the info that we catch on it?
Thanks, Nanda. And firstly, huge shout out to Rahul as well, because there's a huge shortage on the supply side. What we are building is to match demand and supply. But if there is not enough supply, there's not much we can do. Getting back to your question, I think We are a community called the Product Folks, and along with another community called Creators of Product. This is around Wednesday, Thursday last week is where we came together to put all our resources. So we have about 40 volunteers internally. Where we said, okay, hey, we're going to stop all other activities and just, get into the COVID relief efforts. But things just started piling up, lots and lots of other folk. Today, we have 200 plus volunteers working and verifying these resources. The verification is at least on a 24-hour basis and 6 to 12 hours for things that run out much faster. We are still having a lot of challenges keeping real-time updates on beds, especially ICU and O2 beds and in metro cities, given that there's a huge crunch there. For other things that have a greater availability, little more availability, I think that sits very well for us. Along with IndiaCovidResources.in, we also have a page for donations where Mission Oxygen is also listed. It's donate.indiacovidresources.in. Bunch of startup folks, startup companies who supported helping us get the word out. And we're supporting a bunch of curated, verified initiatives like us. That is where we are at today. And over the last 3-4 days, lots more similar initiatives have come. So today, and what we're trying to do is now trying to build like a central repository at the backend, so everyone can use this verified database, and that reduces the effort on the supplier side, right? Lots of these people are receiving calls from organizations like ours, from end consumers, so it becomes difficult for them as well. So that is the stage we are at right now, trying to solve for that.
So Rahul, you just told me that your first shipment is arriving from Hong Kong tomorrow. Can I ask you, once the concentrators do come, what is the POA? What's the plan of action? How will you distribute it? This is, of course, like you pointed out, 250 volunteers who've come together. These are, entrepreneurs. Some of them may be employees working at corporations and all of that. How will you distribute them?
So, Nanda, we've tried to keep it very transparent. We've done our research. We've been in touch with more than 270 hospitals from, and institutions from more than, in 13 states. We speak of government hospitals, private hospitals, NGOs, army hospitals, BSF. So we have the requirement from all of them. We are in touch with their administration, medical superintendents, owners. We are speaking to the Delhi government, LG office, to Maharashtra, government of Maharashtra, Telangana. So the requirement is well set. We know the requirement. We know how many of these oxygen concentrators are needed. And now what we've done is we've done the planning. We know when our shipments are arriving starting tomorrow morning, and all of them are then planned accordingly. We are prioritizing in a way that, we can send these out to the ones that need them the most. In fact, everybody needs them right now. But, especially the ones, in government hospitals or army hospitals, BSF, they are the ones, probably will be getting the shipment from tomorrow. And then, but it's going to go out. It's going to go out to the entire country. And, in our efforts, all that we're trying to do is, we're trying to ensure that the quality of the product is guaranteed. It's great because there's a lot of misinformation around these oxygen concentrators in the market. We've spoken to a lot of doctors. We have a lot of certified people on our, within our group, and they've been helping us amazingly with certification, verifications, due diligence, on-ground due diligence, QA/QC has been done in the factories. So, we are trying to bring in the product that the hospitals need. Our focus is very single-minded. We don't want to look at anywhere else except hospitals, nursing homes, NGOs, the ones where, the oxygen supplies are the most depleted and the ones that need them the most.
Oh, absolutely. And, but the other problem then is because of the lack of the hospital beds, the ICU beds, there are a lot of people who are just not able to reach a hospital, a nursing home, and they're being told, oh, if your oxygen is, still above 80, you should look at home isolation, look at a home ICU. And with that, Suhas, if I could come to you, I'm sure you've seen in the last couple of days how demand for that is also going up. Is there enough supply, at least when it comes to home ICUs and setups at home?
Honestly, that's running out too. I think we've been in touch with a couple of them who've been in the market, but the demand has been so high. One innovative thing that they are trying to do is trying to partner with existing organizations that have infrastructure ready, right? So instead of supplying these home ICU units, they're trying to create this. I think by the end of this week, there should be an announcement on that. But in all honesty, I think that is running out too. And this is especially talking from metro cities. From just my point of view, or the from the limited information that we have on this, Bangalore and Delhi do definitely have a crunch right now. Things are getting better in Bombay since the time we started. So in Maharashtra, we see it getting a little better. And this is from the metro cities point of view. I think it is definitely coming up in a lot more cities. But this is where lots and lots of demand is coming in for us today.
And before I go back to Rahul, Suhas, the other thing I want to ask you, of course, oxygen is the one resource we don't have enough of. It's in short supply. It's why it's also hospitals' hands are tied. They're not able to, look at the mess that the hospitals are in. They're unable to take new patients. All of that is going on. Can you tell me and tell our viewers about organizations like Mission Oxygen who are doing this, that you have heard of, that you have onboarded? Because Mission Oxygen right now is like, they said the volunteers are primarily from Delhi and Gurgaon, but if you were to talk about Karnataka, what are the other kind of organizations doing this?
And Nayandar, actually, we have a bunch of them. These are verified where our members had started donating initially. So there are a bunch of organizations. Act Grants is one, which is similarly collecting a lot of funds and diverting to a couple of initiatives that they have under them. Another one is setting up a COVID care center. So that is one we are supporting. Oxygen cylinders, definitely, like you mentioned earlier, I think Mission Oxygen is the one that we are supporting. And another one for oxygen, I can share their details. Another one that we are supporting is Khana Chahiye. That is for the food bit. So we are trying to pick everything that is related to current COVID relief efforts. Oxygen, another one that we have is for plasma. So plasma, food, oxygen, someone who's trying to set up makeshift COVID centers, and COVID care and Hemkund Foundation, I think, is one that is doing a lot more things outside. Like you mentioned earlier, there is this oxygen crunch. They are supplying free cylinders to people outside, not just hospitals, but others who need it. So I think these are 5 initiatives that we have shortlisted, which we think is necessary today. But we are definitely open, and maybe we've been getting a lot of support from the ecosystem to help us push out this particular page out. And over the next week, we hope to keep updating this page with others who need effort. So I think a couple of them have maxed out on their donations, which we are very happy to have supported. So we'll be replacing these with others, but I think we're trying to prioritize those that have definitely a COVID relief impact today. So these are the ones. You could check out the entire list. If I can share that with your viewers, that would be awesome. It's donate.indiacovidresources.in.
Donate.covidresources.in. Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'll ask my producer to also write that on the screen, donate.covidresources.in. Rahul, if I could come back to you. One of the reasons I really wanted to get you on today's show was also to not just talk about what you have already done, but also maybe those tuning in, those watching you, could also figure out ways of how they can help. And that's, I think, the need of the hour, because just seeing the kind of crisis that we're in. Can you explain to us what it takes to actually import oxygen concentrators? Yes, you may have seen basic custom duty waivers and all of that, but there is still GST. You have to find a supplier. You have to get the charter plane, all of that. Can you tell us a bit about that? Because those tuning in, other founders, civilians that may want to donate, they should know what goes behind the scenes.
So Nandara, what we have to understand is that, we are facing dual issues in China right now. In fact, 3 issues. One is that obviously the entire world wants to bring in oxygen concentrators, whether that's initiatives like us, whether that's, private companies, trading companies, who are bringing in them to sell them to, general people, or governments, or, organizations. So there is a lot of competition and demand in terms of the supply chains. They're stretched. The factories are stretched. The orders are getting booked. Things change in China on minute-to-minute basis right now. From when we started on Friday to now, the air freights have gone up 2.5 times. We were at $3 per kg, and now we are at $7.5, $8 per kg, right? The flight number of flights got cancelled from Shanghai, from all over Hong Kong. And what we had to do was we had to shift a lot of our cargo on dedicated charters. We've had the help of some amazing folks at DHL, Delivery, SpiceJet, Flexport. They've come in, they've helped us, and we're booking 2 more charters now, which will come in on 13th and 15th of May. In addition to the ones that are already booked. So, and in terms of QA, QC, there's a lot out there because, you don't want to get misguided by people who are going to just take your advances and get done. You might not get your product in hand. So for us, what we streamlined was that we had a lot of people on ground in China. They've been visiting factories. They've been going to the warehouses for raw materials. There is a lot that is happening, and it's almost become like an operation. There are so many moving parts. From warehousing to supply to air forwarding, procurement, QA, QC, due diligence. There's a lot that has to be done, and a lot that has to be verified very, very carefully. So, we are working on that. We have, a lot of support from a lot of my friends, who've been importing from China. So you definitely need to have the know-how. You need to have the contacts. You need to have people on ground. And I'll be very honest with you. It's not like, we just Indians are doing this. There are a lot of Chinese people in China that are helping us out. One of our agents, she's been in a factory for the last 3 days. She's sleeping in the factory. So, and today one of them, last night, one of them visited she flew from Shenzhen to Beijing at 11 p.m. at night. So, there's a lot going on out there, and, things that change very, very rapidly, very quickly. So I'll be very careful, if people don't have it figured out, if they don't have the right connects and resources, that, you might just end up blocking the money that could otherwise go into, other initiatives. You could help other initiatives. See, everybody doesn't have to go in and buy them on their own. There are initiatives like ours. There are initiatives like, the Act Grants initiative or others that are doing this, who figured it out now. So why not support them? End of the day, what we're doing is if everybody's going to start doing the same thing, it's just only going to add to competition. The prices are increasing by 20-30%. What's the point? We need to understand, we need to identify the main initiatives that are doing this, are able to deliver on it. See, delivery is really important. Why I emphasized on our first shipment yesterday was because it's been 5 days we started this, right? With the aim of bringing 100. So now within 5 days, we are able to deliver on our promise, and we're going to have our first shipment of 100 oxygen concentrators by tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And we are hoping by 15th of May, we'll be bringing in 3,900 in total.
Okay, and as you're bringing in the supply, we've got Suhas with us who's helping demand match with the supply. Is there any suggestion that you want to give Suhas to Mission Oxygen? And I only mean this because, let's make it conversational. The whole idea is, of course, to beat coronavirus. That's the only objective.
The objective, I think everybody has the same objective today, right? So there's no competition anywhere. What we are also trying to do with, with Act Grants and with other organizations is that we are trying to map. See, it's a very relevant thing to do, because we also don't want that if we are supplying to a particular hospital, 3 others are also supplying to the same hospital, so then we're wasting everybody's time, effort and money. So what we need to do at the major initiatives levels is that we need to have demand and requirement mapping that happens. We have a list of 270, 280 hospitals. So ours might have for another 500 or 1,000. I don't know how big their list is, but we can collate them, we can match them, we can see, okay, this is the requirement we have, this is the requirement you have, and now we are going to be creating an allocation distribution plan for them, so that at least, and same can happen with other initiatives as well. There is another initiative called SWAST. We are also already doing that with them. So that's the one that Act Grants is supporting. So, so there is a lot of work that is happening at the back end, between different organizations, between different initiatives as well. There's a lot of communication that is taking place right now.
Exactly. Nandar, just to add to that, I think on the supply side, like Rahul mentioned, it's good that each of them are picking up their niches and trying to solve for that one thing, because that is of extreme importance. And then I think on our end, what we are trying to do when we started, I think, like I mentioned, today there are at least 23 other similar initiatives that we are in touch with, again, on the verification side and matching demand and supply. For the last 3 days, what we've been trying to do is trying to get them on board on one particular platform, so that the challenge that we're trying to solve here is one, the verified leads to get exhausted really soon, given that supply is limited. And second, if all these organizations are trying to reach out to the same supplier, then it is a nightmare for them as well, right? Imagine when demand and supply is is so skewed. What we want to do is make it easier for the suppliers, right? So that is our core focus right now. We probably just started a little ahead of the others, but what we're trying to do now is join hands, right? Like exactly what Rahul mentioned. There is no point duplicating these efforts. So that is a current point of focus for us. And I'm glad, I think as soon as supply opens a little bit, I think we'll be ready to make demand and supply match. And Rahul, I'll be happy to like share a list with you as well, the list that we have. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Same here.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for being a part of today's broadcast. Thank you to both of you, to both your teams, to the volunteers and everyone that's come together to put both your initiatives together. Thanks a lot. Hope to be in touch. And let's just hope that we don't have to be in touch for this, and that would mean that we've actually beaten coronavirus. But thanks a lot for joining us today for this live broadcast.
Thanks so much, Nayantara.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short commercial break. Coming up on the other side, yet another new age COVID warrior. It's Map My India. There's been another problem, and that is when tankers are trying to reach hospitals, they're losing way. The hospitals don't know when oxygen is going to reach, when other critical supplies are going to reach. Map My India has offered to install for free is GPS in all of such vehicles that will be transporting critical resources for coronavirus. We'll be back after this break with Map My India's Rohan Verma.